Market update here on the 21st. So we got the big bounce that we were talking about yesterday. That was nice to see. I got out of some of my calls for a gain, and now we just sit here. We basically came up here at 10, and the rest of the day was just chop. It was a pretty boring day overall, but we'll go over a few different charts in this video, and we'll talk about the dollar as well and what I think is going on with the dollar. So I was on Twitter earlier, and other people do Elliott Wave. You know, they put suggestions as well, and I always like to check my work. And in this case, I wanted to make sure this is not a fourth wave, and so I went through this chart again, and I see no reason that this would not be a fourth wave currently, because the only other possibility would be an expanded flat, but this would have had to come all the way past the 1.61 fib. So I still see this as a shallow fourth wave and a shallow fifth wave. If you look on higher time frames, even like on the hourly time frame, same thing. We got 1, 2, the next green bars right here, 3, 4, 5, fourth wave, fifth wave. So, and if this was a fourth wave still, we would have seen like a 5-wave move here. This is not a 5-wave move. This is a corrective move. So I think it is the beginning of the second wave. So zooming in here, then we get, and you can see how corrective this is. It's more like a WXY pattern again. It's basically this goes way past the 1.61 fib no matter which way I draw it. So interesting how much of a pop we got here. I was expecting 384, but the thing is, this made it apparent that we got over the 385 level that we were talking about for it to be the bottom. And so I think we are there. And then I think there's a good chance that this is A right here, because it makes sense for how far we're going to go up. And I wouldn't be surprised if actually this is the B wave right here. It's finished. And I wouldn't be surprised if we get a gap up tomorrow or something of that, or we start a 5-wave move higher. I think this might be pretty quick. So this looks like a normal, it's going to be a normal ABC pattern most likely. So what if it's A, B, C, and we're done tomorrow? It could be that quick, to be honest. And this would be a 5-wave move. So currently the 1.61 fib is actually only at 392.85. So that would end up falling short of the 50% retracement. There's also over here on the daily, you can see a supply zone right here at, this is a supply zone right here too. So we got, I already have it marked actually. So this is a supply zone right here. Is that right? No, that's not right. We have a supply zone right here, and it goes all the way to 390.46. So we do need to clear 390.46. If we clear that, then that sets us up for a chance to reach this supply zone at 396, even though that would be above the 1.61 fib. So this could be the end of it right here, and most likely will be. It might go a little bit past the 1.61 fib. I don't think that we're going to get something like this, because that would take us all the way to that would take us all the way up to 405. I guess that would still be a second wave, but I think that's very unlikely because that would take a long time. I'm expecting this move to be done pretty quickly. So I think it might end up being a shallow second wave, or we might hit 394, a little bit past this 396 in the supply zone, and then move down for the third wave. So third wave will probably come. The reason I say it could be quick too is we have PCE on Friday. And so if that comes in hot again, then I would expect this rally to be pretty much finished. So look for potentially, I'm not going to say for sure, potentially a gap up tomorrow, and this being a very shallow B wave up to 392, 394, 396. So that would be another big day. That'd be another 1 or 2% day if that happens. If we do come down and break into these supply zones, then it might be a little bit more drawn out. We might be going into next week. But we'll see what happens tomorrow. Look for more upside in the short term. Tesla did not really bounce today, just kind of around the same level as yesterday. It did get a little bit of a bounce up to 140.72, and honestly, it kind of seems to me what I think is going to happen. I think this is probably going to, I think it's going to bounce from here, honestly, because I think that this might carry, if it gets a good bounce, it could carry SPY a little bit higher. We'll look at Apple here in a little bit, but I'm still looking for a pretty big bounce. I don't know though, 150 is a pretty big bounce. That's going to be, at this point, going to be like 10% move. So if we get that, then SPY can go a lot higher. So we'll see what happens with that. I'm looking for a bounce to 150 to 155. X had a request for this one. I'm still in my puts. I added some puts yesterday and obviously got burned so far, but they're for April, so I don't really care that much. I want to time my entries pretty well, but I'm just scaling into it. If we look at the chart, I think it makes sense that this is an ABC move. Let's go on lower time frames. And I have this labeled as A, B, and then this could be a 5-wave move. So that would be the C wave. And I guess technically it could be a third wave too. If it's a third wave, then this is probably going to go higher than this right here. It's probably going to go to new highs and probably hit this supply zone right here. So that would mean that this was not the top right here. If we look at the 1.61 fib of the A wave, we've already hit it actually. So this would end up being so this did break through here, so it could be a third wave. So I'm going to leave the possibility up of this being A or 1. So A or 1. This is going to be 2 or B. And then we're either working on a C wave, but we've already hit the 1.61 fib, so I'm going to actually lean towards this being a 5-wave move. We've already hit the 1.61 fib. I would look for, if this is only a third wave, then we're looking for pretty much up here for a double top that would be for the third wave total. So third wave would be up here, right on the top. So we'd be looking at pullback to like 26.83, and then another move higher to $28.82, possibly 29. So we'll see. If it's ABC, it's going to top out right up here, and that would just make this A and this B. And then we'd probably get a C wave down here. But if it's a 5-wave move, then if we zoom out here, this is again some kind of WXY move. So we got, I guess it could be a 5-wave move. So we have A, B, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 4, 5. So I think that's probably pretty likely. It just ends up being a WXY move. So we have, this would be, actually would end up being a WXY move as well. got to change the whole chart really. This would look like this: 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 right there, just like that. And that's kind of probably the best way to look at it now, because we did get an ABC move right here, and so it wouldn't really make sense for us to come up here and then come back down here. We're probably gonna go up here, I would think, in the next like day or two with SPY, and that would be a little bit higher than my target. But let's just look at what fib that would be. 2882 would be right at the a little bit above the 1.23 fib, something like that, but right in the supply zone. So that would end up being the B wave, and that would mean this ended up being, again, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 like that. And that would line up with SPY too, and then we would get an actual impulsive move down like this. I already have it marked here. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 down to the head and shoulders, down to the monthly demand is what I'm looking at. So, and you actually got these little spikes right here. So you can see it's like basically the same. If it came up here, then it'd be the exact same, and then we would come back down. So the monthly demand is right here, our weekly supply, I mean, and then we would start moving down. So, and you can see it even on here on the weekly time frame. On the weekly time frame, you can see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So I jumped the gun a little bit on my puts, but I'm scaling into them. I think I have $25 puts for March or April. And I made a bunch on this move, so it's not that big of a deal. I'm down like $400 or $500 right now. So I'm going to scale in more if we go all the way up here to 28. And I'll probably scale in probably like double my position at that point. And then if we were to break above 30.64 somehow, and I was wrong, I'd probably cut it at that point. But head and shoulders still in play. I'm taking a long time on this one. Let's go to the dollar now. The dollar, I think the most likely pattern on this now, after looking at it, because I had it as a 5-wave ending diagonal, I think the most likely pattern on this now is actually WXY. So a lot of WXY patterns lately. So this would end up being, the only thing I don't like about that is usually the Y wave doesn't go past the 1.61 fib, and here it clearly goes by pretty much a lot. I guess we could still label it ABC because for that reason. But this pattern right here, I think, is just a corrective move lower. And I think we're just done looking at this as a 5-wave move. It's just too choppy. So I would look at this as basically ABC, W, X, and we're looking for Y. And so if this is W right here, we know it can't go past the 1.61 fib. And that's down there at 150. So that's like as far as I think it could go. And it was actually, we were up a little bit today. Let's go into the individual pattern here for the Y wave now. So even in this pattern right here, it looks pretty corrective as well. So I would label this so A, B, C, B, maybe we get A, B, and C down here. So if we draw a parallel line here, we're looking at like 90 cents lower than this, so maybe 102.50. We'll see tomorrow, I guess, but let me go on the daily time frame. So ABCA B WX, and we're looking for Y. No, it can't go past 150. Within that pattern on the daily time frame, we got, so it would have to be, yeah, it would have to be W, X, Y. We're working on the Y wave. It should get one more move down. And it can't go past the 1.61 fib again. So 1.61 fib is at 101.70. I don't even know if it's going to go down that low, but it could go down to 101.70, and then the 1.61 fib of this is at 102. So probably a little bit more downside in the dollar. We can also look at demand zones. We have this weekly demand zone right here. Yeah, we got a weekly demand zone. So we're below this right here. So the next demand zone is actually right here. I had it drawn as the red wave, but it's actually, so we're already in the demand zone from 104.22 to 101.94. So we're almost there. It's probably going to be at the top of the second wave, and the Y wave will be finished. So WXY down here, bounce. And if we're looking for a supply zone that it could bounce to, we're looking at this right here. I already have it drawn up. So 113 to 110. But maybe that will just be after a first wave. So we could get, for measuring out the waves, we know we had to get to 120. Let's just see. Let's say we go down to 102.50 or 103. 113, that's probably not going to be enough. That first wave is not going to be enough. That only went to 108. So maybe the first wave actually makes it to the supply zone. Pull back. And then we can look at the 1.61 fib one more time. And that would probably be enough. So I think that the first wave, we might get a big pop here to like 111 to 113 over the next couple of weeks. Should be bottoming soon, based on my analysis, but we'll see. And then 120 obviously is a top. And that will be the end of the dollar cycle going back since 2008. So that's the dollar. Let's look at yields real quick. If this would work. I'm in an Airbnb, and sometimes the internet is a little bit sketchy. So on bonds are a little bit different. I mean, yields are a little bit different. It looks like a five-wave move to me from the top. So we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So I don't know. I guess yields could be selling off when the dollar goes higher. Usually they go together though, but it's looking to me like we're still getting that B wave. So we have A, B down here to pretty much flat, a little bit higher. This could be finished right now. And if that's finished, then, or it might have one more move up. But let's say it's finished. We're looking for probably target down here to 3.1% still. Weekly demand is at, I would say weekly demand is actually at 2.75 to 2.91%, or right here at 2.77 to 2.98. So it might go even farther than that if it sells off more. Let's go to QQQ. QQQ is probably, I didn't even look at it all day to be honest, but it did the exact same thing as SPY. Gapped up. And let's go to the daily. Same thing I went over. I'm looking for the 20 DMA still, and that's right in the demand zone right here, maybe a little bit short of it, our supply zone. So I'm still looking for the 20 for on both on SPY and on QQQ for this bounce. Look for the 20. We got over the 50 momentarily, finished below it, I think, a little bit. But I think we're going to get up to the 20. If you look back at any of the corrections over the last year, and we have the 20, that's a 50. We have the 20 right here. Every correction cross the 20. So we have this move down here, cross the 20, big move down, cross the 20, big move down, cross the 20, and then this move is a pretty big move down from 410 straight to 380. 20 is way up here. I don't think we're going to sell off that far below the 20 without hitting it first. So we got to come up here and hit that first still. So QQQ, same thing. Got to come up here and hit it. Here we were 254. It was at 272. We came up and went way above it. Right now, 266. It's at 283. Got to come up here and probably get above it. And the last thing to look at, let's look at Apple and a quick glance at Bitcoin. Apple is so Apple with a nice bounce here today, just moving along with SPY, and I already have it mapped out what I'm expecting, but it's probably not going to take that long. That's way too long. It's going to be, let's go on lower time frames. Maybe the B wave already started. Same thing as SPY. We got ABC, pullback, could be the pop that finishes the retracement tomorrow or maybe the next day. Who knows? PCE may come out less hot than expected too, but I wouldn't be surprised if we get the gap up tomorrow to the demand zone at 141, and then the 20-day moving average on Apple is sitting at 143. So same thing, same expectation as SPY, and then after that, a 5-wave move down. So Bitcoin, last thing to look at. Bitcoin is doing the exact same thing, except for the 20 is only here at 17.1. And I think that in the last video I talked about bouncing to like 17.2 to 17.8 and then moving down with SPY in the overall market. So probably a little bit more of a bounce and then third wave down, fourth wave, all the way down here to 12,000. I'm just repeating myself on Bitcoin because there's no new developments, just kind of sits there in one place. So expect a bounce in Tesla tomorrow. Expect a bounce in the overall market and maybe a little bit more downside in the dollar. QQQ, same thing, bounce up at 283 or so. And Apple, same thing as well. That's pretty much it. Longer video than normal. Let me know what you think in the comments. Like and subscribe if you like the analysis. And for more updates every day after the market closes, have a good night.